Opening up a gym is a huge risk. And if you don't open up with a critical mass of members, you're gonna be hurting. Because then you're gonna have to burn the midnight oil and be marketing and selling your butt off while you're also fulfilling your services. Lucky for you, today I am gonna cover 16 ways to get awesome results, crush your pre-sales, and open profitable from day one. My name is Mark Fisher from Business for Unicorns, and we're on a mission to help gym owners build a gym and a life you love. And if you want a gym and a life you love, well, opening up profitable is not a bad way to start that adventure. Now, opening a gym is a tricky thing, and I think the thing to appreciate is that the skill set of opening up a gym is a different animal than running a gym. And most people just don't get that many reps. Now, in my case, I have personally opened up 3 gyms in my life with 2 different brands in 3 very different neighborhoods, and they all brought a different set of lessons. I also work with our most advanced members in the Leadership Society, a lot of which are scaling to multiple locations. So having a ringside seat and helping support them in opening up not just the first unit, but additional units is also helping me learn many things. And finally, I am a franchisee. So what that means is I'm also getting to hear from reports all over the country about the various things that are working and not working as various franchisees open up more locations. Taken together, this is something I have really been working on the past, let's say 2 years. And I really think this is the missing link specifically for trainers that want to open up a gym and have more success outside the gate, but importantly, also for more advanced gym owners that are really looking to scale. So here are 16 rapid fire strategies for how to open up successful from day one and crush your pre-sales. Oh, quick, before I do that, I do just want to mention that if you are interested in taking a course that we've created about opening up your first or your next location, you can go to businessforunicorns.com/courses, scroll down and check out the course Open Strong. All right, so we're going to keep this rapid fire. Number 1, make sure you have enough capital. If you run out of cash, you die. You have to budget to make sure you have cash reserves because things are not like going to go 100% perfect. Make sure that you have more than the exact amount you need just to open. Number 2, run your pre-sales for around 8 weeks before opening. Now, there's a lot of debate about the optimal length of a pre-sales window. I would say this, if you run it too long, of course, the downside is you'll have people sign up that get bored, lose interest, pull their credit cards, and disappear. On the other hand, if it's too short, you don't have enough time to sell a critical mass of clients to open up a gym profitable from day one. I think in general, your sweet spot is going to, in most markets, be around 8 weeks. Now, I would note we can also include an additional, let's say, 2 to 4 weeks of building buzz, capturing contact information before you start getting people on phones and requesting credit cards in exchange for moving forward and signing up for a membership. Number 3, to minimize fall off, you want to be contacting your founding members at least once per week. I think there's probably an opportunity to have some sort of weekly communication, keeping them up to date with the space as it is getting finished. And there's probably an opportunity to do a phone call or a text message to really start to develop the relationship personally to make it less likely that they disappear and ghost you once the space is finally open and being used. Number 4, offer demo sessions in the space ASAP. So you might decide that you wait till everything is totally done before you do a grand opening, and there's probably some wisdom in that. But if I were in your shoes, and I am, I would suggest start doing sessions in the space as soon as you can. You know, one approach this I've seen I think is smart is just let them be free sessions for the time being. And this is helpful too, because particularly if you have a new staff, you need to help them train. The space might still be in a little bit of disarray and you're still putting some things on. Well, that all feels a little bit more acceptable when essentially it feels like a bonus and an extra thing. It might be less acceptable if you're running credit cards at that point. And not only that, again, if part of the goal is to sort of keep that relationship and start to build some affinity and not lose them in an extended and protracted pre-sales period, getting them to do some workouts is going to help. I would also note if the space isn't ready, then great, you're going to do outdoor boot camps. Speaking of space, number 5 is make a big visual ruckus wherever you are opening up your space. And this does have to be navigated sometimes with a landlord, but I want you to be obnoxious. I want to make it so that nobody can miss the fact that there's a cool new business opening up, create some real attention visually. So if anybody's walking by, they want to go check it out. If they're driving by, they see something cool is happening. I'm talking big signs, balloons, and of course, most importantly, a QR code or some obvious call to action so that people are going by there during the 2 hours of the day where you're not at the space. They know what to do to move forward to next step to find out more. Speaking of what to do, number 6, we want to have a strong founders rate offer. Now, Wow, this is one that there's a lot of different schools of thought on this. It's going to be quite controversial, actually, in the nerdy gym business space. We have some really vigorous arguments about this. So I'll say this. This is one of the ones I actually don't have a very strong thesis on. And I think talking to the most successful I know, frankly, I think everybody's still testing and finding it out. And I don't know that we'll find one universally always appropriate and successful approach to founders rates. But I would think what is always going to be true is, one, you're going to want some deadline, some urgency for some kind of offer. Two, you're going to want to have a limited number, scarcity, which means not everybody can get it. The first X many clients get this thing. And three is a little bit more tentative. I would say that for me, I am not a fan of a forever lifetime guarantee. Now, again, there are reasonable schools of thought. If I were to steelman that approach, I could be argued, particularly if you have a more premium priced product, there's somebody said for anchoring in, 40, 50, 75 if you want of your members at a slightly reduced rate, so they get a little bit of a rent stabilization effect. It is both in practice a little bit more affordable and easier for them to stick around, and they're incentivized to not leave, because if they do, they lose their preferred pricing. So I think that can make sense. They're just, in general, as a rule of thumb, I'm not a fan of forever discounts. If I were in your shoes, I would suggest maybe doing 3 months at some sort of discount and just not making a forever discount. Number 7, make it easy for people to find you digitally. You want a well-built, well-optimized, that loads well website with a very clear call to action that as soon as somebody stumbles upon it, it makes it obvious, here's exactly who we help, here's the outcomes we create, and here's what to do next. Related, you want to set up an Instagram profile that mirrors a lot of that same information in the profile, that is being active, that in a perfect world is telling some of the story of the gym being built, maybe some of your story as a founder, what you value. If it's a second location, you can talk about some of the client experiences you've had there. And of course, let's not forget the Google Business Profile. That's another very important thing. If you want to show up in online search, you want to make sure your Google Business Profile is set up with good pictures, hours of operations, choose the correct services, et cetera, et cetera. Number 8, well, I guess I just said this one. Speaking of social media, you want to tell your gym's story on social media. But here's the important thing. Yes, I think it's good to do that. And yes, that might allow you to engage with some of the people that have already made a tentative commitment and have signed up for membership. But I also think this is a great opportunity to DM anybody that follows or likes or comments. Listen, if somebody follows or engages with a local new gym's Instagram page, well, odds are they might have something of an interest in your gym. At a minimum, it's not going to hurt to just be friendly, start some conversations, and make sure people know about the intro offer and or any other thing that you might have to offer them for them to come and find out more if it might be a fit. Number 9, we want to spend heavy on meta ads. Listen, there seems to be this magical window for 2 to 3 months when a new brand launches. I've seen this very consistently across my friends, both in the franchise world and in the independent world. You have this weird moment where you're the belle of the ball. I think you really got to go hard on those first 2 to 3 months. Get as many leads as you can. Try to, of course, sell as many people into your founders rate as you can. And then remember, then you have all these other awesome leads, which is great because then you can continue to market to them on a regular basis forever and ever. Amen. Number 10. Build local business partnerships. So part of the game is not just relying on the paid ads, though I think that's going to be an important piece for any serious player in the world of opening up new locations. But we have to connect with local businesses, and a few quick hits. First of all, be prepared to do more outreach than you think. Most local business owners are stressed, they're overwhelmed, they just don't have time for this, right? So you're going to have to go through a lot of volume here to get some people that are willing to play ball. Second, focus on how you can help first, right? You're opening up a local small business. You're going to have a critical mass of clients. You're also going to have an audience on Instagram and email. Try to think from their perspective, what can you do to be helpful? You can also invite them to participate in your grand party in some way. Maybe they can set up a booth or a table. Maybe they can give away freebies to your clients or your audience. And again, they're looking to get the word out just the same way that you are. So I think it's good to start with a giving hand. And then, yes, of course, you can have some conversations around perhaps some of the ways they can help get the word out about what you're building. Number 11, consider hiring help for pre-sales. Now, this one is a little bit tricky. It will depend on certainly whether this is your first ever location or if you already have 1, 2, 3 locations open. But I think there's real wisdom in not trying to do this all on your own, particularly because, again, you have this one brief window where you can really focus on marketing sales and you're not worried as much about fulfillment. And of course, the better you are at marketing sales, the reality is the more people you're going to have to be following up with, both I think with email blasts and some sort of individual outreach. So I think it's best if you don't try to do this alone. But if you do hire help, I think a few things are going to help you here. First of all, you're going to have to set some clear expectations, okay? The reality is pre-sales is tough, right? And you have to make it clear, look, we're going to go in very hard for a brief period of time to set us up to make our life much easier once the gym is open. So if I were in your shoes, I would really encourage you to make it clear from that hire, the pre-sales window, we need all hands on deck, a lot of focus. It's going to be hard. It's going to be a lot of long hours. It's going to be getting a lot of doors shut in our face. And it's important to understand you're not going to usually hire people with a lot of experience understanding how to run organic lead generation marketing or how to do the sort of phone sales and follow-up outreach necessary to succeed. So you're going to have to train people. 12, as leads come in, follow up a lot more than you think. I have covered that in other videos. Perhaps if you've not checked out my video on 6 ways to fix your sales funnel, that would be a great thing to do. But in brief, I'll just say you have to follow up immediately as soon as possible, and you have to follow up frequently and more frequently than you think. Number 13, as I mentioned before, we also want to continue to follow up with non-responsive leads. So if you run an 8-week sales window and somebody has not declined, but you haven't heard from them in 2 weeks, I wouldn't give up on them. I would just keep going back to them. Maybe it's not every single day. That's maybe a little bit annoying, but the reality is you can continue to give them updates about what's happening with the gym. You continue to let them know as the number of founding member spots is dwindling, so the hopes that they can take some action to move forward. You can invite them to the grand opening party. The key thing there is you don't want to give up just because they don't come in right away in the first week or two. I would continue to stay in dialogue with them and continue to make invitations. 14, you want to create and use a strong sales script. And this goes both, I think, for the initial phone call where you're getting them on the phone. And then if you're bringing them in to do some sort of strategy session or assessment or more robust needs analysis to maybe sell them into the proper membership, this will depend a little bit on the funnel that you've set up. But regardless, we need to have some kind of sales conversation where you help the individual get clear on what it is they actually want, how they think it's going to impact their life, why they don't have it yet, so you can build value for your services. And assuming this is true, help them understand how what you do creates those specific results and helps them overcome the obstacles that got in the way of the past and get them excited on the future they can create with you. And of course, you can also highlight both the urgency of the deadline and the scarcity of the number of spots, have a wildly attractive referral incentive for them to bring in your friends, which is obviously always a great way to grow your business. And I suggest taking away all risk, give them 100% money back guarantee so that it's easy for them to move forward without having to risk anything. 15, have a kick-ass grand opening party, go all out. Pack the doors, promote this. You want to invite in your members. You want to invite members' friends. You want to invite local business partnerships. You want to invite people from your township. You want to invite your family and friends if you're local. You want to throw the best, biggest party you can. You don't need to spend a ton of money on it, but you do need to acknowledge and celebrate that a cool new thing is happening in your town, that you're building an awesome new thing together that's going to help your community be healthier. And again, this is both great to, I think, really build relationship with your seed clients, but of course also meet some other potential leads and help support your local business partners. And 16, once you're open, keep the momentum going. Keep the momentum going. We want to continue the marketing. We want to continue to do lead follow-up. We want to continue to go back to those old leads and make invitations to periodically invite them to come back in, check out what they're missing, and take part in the really cool thing that you're building. Now, finally, remember, the best sales in the world do not matter if the service is not good. So that's, again, why I think the pre-sale period, it's a short window. You got to go having those ads, do all the follow-up, do all the things, because once you're open, you're starting to fulfill, then you still have to do that, but you got to fulfill. And you should know, listen, particularly if you come in hard with a lot of discounts, those discounts are time limited, you might have some follow-up in the beginning. And in practice, the real talk is, in a new location, whether it's your first gym or your 9th, it's not always going to be super dialed from day one. There's going to be a little bit of a learning curve. You're likely going to have new staff. That's all well and good. That's not the end of the world. But the key thing is, yes, do all the things you need to do on the marketing and sales front. But once you're in there, now it's a retention game, right? We have to fulfill, make sure those services are awesome, make sure you're really dialed in on all those other important retention systems. Speaking of, if you want another video, maybe check out my video on the top retention systems. So in closing, if I can be helpful in your first gym or your next gym, I would love to tell you a little bit about what we do at Business for Unicorns. All you have to do is book a 10-minute intro call at go.businessforunicorns.com/brainstorm. And in the meantime, if you want some free stuff, check out the links below where you can find some free resources like my free marketing book. You can follow our Business for Unicorns podcast. You can follow us on Instagram. And of course, you can subscribe to this here YouTube channel. So that way you don't miss my next video where I will return imminently. And I'll share with you more actionable tips, psychological frameworks, and philosophy.